Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and this is the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, the music podcast on where I interview singers and musicians from genres of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the destination genre of black music right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast Sneak Preview Part 2. That's right, folks. A week from this Tuesday, we'll be back with season number 5 of the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And yes, we are still continuing to doing video podcast episodes. Now, when we first started the video podcast episodes back in the summer of 2024, when the link anchor.fm had merged with riverside.fm, so I had to deal with these new computer technology, and that is dealing with the video technology and everything. So what I've been doing since last season, I've been doing the interviews from my kitchen. So now, with your request, I've been listening. Many of you have been coming to me and saying, why don't you have a computer backdrop so you don't have to see your messy kitchen? Well, I'm glad you asked. I did had some computer backdrops, but most of you have saw half of me with half of my head and not the rest of me. But I can tell you this, that these things cost money. So if you want me to get better things like a better computer drop, and just letting you know, please subscribe and support my show because those computer effects cost money. So what we're trying to do is we try to do something new. So at first, I was thinking about doing a computer backdrop for this season, but I said, let's back off for a while and let's try something new. So for season number 5, we'll be in my living room. And yes, we're using our second computer. So for those of the guests that I reached out to, I thank you. And the list is growing and is more guests to come. So from last season, I got a chance to meet Miss Christy Kanska, representing Armenia. So where is Armenia? It is the capital city of Yerevan. And where is Yerevan? Somewhere near Ukraine. So I got a chance to meet her. We've met on LinkedIn. I got a chance to connect with her. I met her at the Park Central Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, across the street from Carnegie Hall. She and her friend Natalia from Ukraine were there for the Carnegie Hall Summer Educational Program. So when I first started recording her at the 4th week of July, Riverside had some technical problems. So instead of having me being the host, she ended up being the host. So I had to go to Yonkers, New York. I've interviewed her. I got a chance to meet her husband. And yes, as I said, Christy is from Armenia and her husband is from the Czech Republic. So I got a chance to interview her this year. And for those of you who have checked out my special summer episode, I did the unthinkable. So I took my podcast equipment with me, interviewed her from her home in Yonkers, New York, downstairs in the basement where you see all of the studio music equipments and everything. So we didn't let you see that. So we sat on the couch and did the interview. So I hope you got a chance to check out my special summer episode, which was aired on Tuesday, August 4th. So if you got a chance to check it out, thank you. But if not, please check it out right now before we bring you season number 5, which will be airing on Tuesday, August 26th. That is a week from this Tuesday. And yes, I'll be taking my podcast on the road as always because as a DJ, I do gigs here in the Bronx and in the village of Harlem, where I hail from in New York City. So, for those who I got a chance to interview, those that may have a hard time getting onto the Riverside.fm link, whether they are in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, or in Westchester County that represents money earning Mount Vernon or Yonkers or New Rochelle, I'll be there to interview you. So we're trying to do something new, something fresh, and something you'll never know to be unexpected. And for those who may have a hard time getting on to the Riverside.fm link, whether they are from the Midwest or the West Coast or up in Boston, Massachusetts, we're going to do it the old fashioned way, old school. We're going to be doing this a la Walter Cronkite style, and we're going to interview you over the speakerphone via telephone. So we're going to do it just like Walter Cronkite did. Now, I'm sure you'll be watching the news every night with CBS Evening News with the late Walter Cronkite when he had to interview a guest on whatever news breaks. He had to interview via telephone, and you didn't see the person, you just saw the person's name on the screen. Same thing with our colleagues over at NBC when you had Chet Huntley and David Brinkley, and later David Brinkley and John Chancellor. Same thing with our colleagues at ABC News, where you had Howard K. Smith and Frank Reynolds, and later Howard K. Smith and Harry Reasoner, and then ABC World News Tonight with Frank Reynolds in Washington, Max Robinson in Chicago, and Peter Jennings in London. And of course, on PBS, the McNeil Leather Report, which is now the PBS NewsHour, where they had to do it over the phone, and today they had to do it technology, digital. So that's something that we're going to be doing old school. So hopefully everyone will follow the Riverside.fm link and to get everybody on the screen. So that is something that we're going to be doing for season 5. So we're going to be bringing you new guests, returning guests, also some guests that I've been trying to get on my podcast from last season, but had a hard time getting onto the Riverside.fm link. So recently, I've just interviewed Miss Tammy Smith. Her birthday was on the 14th. So that episode will be aired on Thursday, September 4th. So even though that her birthday was this past week, but we're still going to air it anyway and give you a little intro on it. And of course, we're still going to be continuing our mission. Our mission is to interview independent singers and musicians from genres of black music, whether they're from gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. And my mission, as I did in season number 4, I'm going to be interviewing a diversity of singers and musicians who love soul music. We did that in season 4, and we're doing it again for season number 5. And we're going to be interviewing artists from all around the world. Here in the United States, outside the United States, which includes Canada, the UK, Africa, and yes, we may have some guests coming from the Far East. So you never know who I'm going to be interviewing on my show. All you need to do is tune in, stay tuned, and pass it on. That's the only way you're going to find out on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And I can just tell you a few minutes ago, the list is growing and it's going to be growing more. So all you need to do is tune in to the Black Soul Music Experience podcast, where I'm going to be interviewing singers and musicians from genres of black music. As I said, I'm going to be interviewing new guests, returning guests, those I've been trying to get from last year, and we're going to be doing some new topics. For example, on season 3, I've interviewed my paternal guest representing the Middleton Bellinger family. Her name is Crystal Bellinger Moss. At first, I thought she was a gospel radio DJ personality at a gospel radio station, but she said, "No, I'm not." She was just a guest on a radio show. She is a family counselor, and we did an episode on songs that is dealing with anger, loss, and relationships. We're still going to continue that subject as we go into some different topics coming from today's headlines, whether it's dealing with domestic abuse and other things. And as I said, I'm going to be interviewing some new singers from around the world who has been influenced by soul and hip hop and today's R&B. So you never know, I may interview a person from the East Coast or the Middle East, because music brings people together. It is the healing force of the world. It uplifts us, it unites us, and it moves us. That is the purpose of my podcast. And just to let you know, not only I'll be interviewing singers and musicians, but I'm also going to be interviewing singers and musicians who are also music teachers on why music education is so important. Yes, music play a part in the arts too. So you never know who I'm going to be interviewing for season number 5. And not only that, I'll get a chance to keep in touch with some of my colleagues from Viacom CBS Paramount, those who have worked at WCBS News Radio 880. In case you may not know, the radio station went out of business. And also my colleagues from AM 1460 WVOX and their sister station 93.5 FM WRTN, which later changed to WVIP. That too went out of business. So I'm going to be interviewing some different radio DJ personalities and also some of my favorite radio DJ personalities that I grew up on. Not only behind the mic, but work behind the scenes, whether it's doing legal IDs or jingles. So that's something that you're going to find out on the season premiere of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. All you need to do is tune in. So please continue to support and subscribe my podcast. I only have 2 subscribers on Spotify and 2 subscribers on Patreon. And right now, as we speak, for my YouTube subscribers, we have over 72 subscribers. Had it the other way around. 72 subscribers on YouTube. And as for my video podcast episodes on Riverside, I have over 83 streams, 29 followers. For those, 25% for ages 23 to 34, 35 to 44, and 45 to 59, and 60 plus seniors. For the guys, it's 50%, and for the ladies, 25%. We've just picked up Spain. That's right, folks. We've just picked up Spain. And as for those who've been tuning in on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and also Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Pocket Cast, I can tell you that I have over 6,773 streams, 171 followers. It was 100% for ages 35 to 44, and for the ladies, 100%. We just picked up Peru. Yes. So, as I can tell you, we're off to a good start. All I can tell you is please subscribe, please support. We're trying to get to 5 more subscribers on Spotify and 5 more subscribers on Patreon. And for those who have been tuning in to YouTube, I can tell you we're up to 72 subscribers. So let's get up to 500 subscribers. So thank you all for tuning in to season 4 of my Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And let's keep it growing, because our mission is to continue and to bring you more Black music stories, because it needs to be told and needs to be exposed. So all you need to do is tune in to the Black Soul Music Experience podcast season premiere next Tuesday. My guest is jazz artist Phil Scarf. And he been influenced by so many jazz music from around the world, and India is one of them. So you're going to be hearing his interview next Tuesday, August 26th. Now, if you want to check out my episode, all you need to do is go to the link. The link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S to the end, -studio. And as always, I will be posting the episodes on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, then please become a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Log on to Patreon. Please put in your email address and your password. Go to the Patreon homepage where you see all of the Patreon shows done by different creators. And make sure you go on the top and type in the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And make sure you check out all of my audio podcast episodes, as well as the video podcast episode clips that you may have missed. And if you have a hard time getting on to patreon.com, then make sure you go to youtube.com. All you need to do is go to the YouTube homepage and type in the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Check out all of my video podcast episodes from season 4 and my special summer episode, which was aired on Tuesday, August 4th, with my guest, Miss Christy Kanska. And you'll never know what I'm going to be doing next. So we're going to be interviewing singers and musicians, and I'll be interviewing them when I travel around the NYC. So you'll get a chance to feel something and be exposed. So remember, folks, make sure you tune into the Black Soul Music Experience podcast every Tuesdays, available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, or wherever you get your podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And make sure you check out this video podcast episode viewing right now on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And make sure you tune in for season 5, because you never know who I'm going to be interviewing next. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thanks for tuning in to the sneak preview of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you Tuesday, August 26th. Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be back on Tuesday, August 26th, as I bring you season number 5 of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners and viewers like you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe by going to riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s-studio. And don't forget to check out my audio and video podcast episodes by becoming a member, and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. And also check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to youtube.com/The Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And please leave your comments, feedbacks, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Go to facebook.com/The Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. And you can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66. As always, parting, remember this: reach for the top and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care, God bless, thanks for tuning in, and have a safe and happy summer.